Hi everyone, welcome to the Boys Club. I'm Clarke Wolfe.
I'm Holly Payne.
And this is our True Detective Perspective. So Holly and I decided that we wanted to sit down after each episode of HBO's new show True Detective and give our thoughts and opinions.
Yes.
And just so you guys know, we are just fans of the show. We have no screeners.
No
we have
special skills whatsoever.
None. Just want to talk about it. So we just finished watching the first episode of True Detective, the premiere.
The Long, Dark, Bright, I believe it's called.
Very nice. And so, Holly, what were your initial reactions?
My initial reactions were that I think that they were setting stuff up, obviously, so it felt a little bit like a procedural. But at the same time, it had that kind of, dark, swampy, scary flavor that I know they're just going to, build on as we go along. So... it was a slow build, but they're just setting things up.
Exactly. It did feel like, and I think first episodes, pilot episodes, whatever you want to call it, because this is an anthology series, so I think that's kind of interesting too.
Yes. No, when you told me that, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but I think it's actually really cool. I think it's cool for the format. I think it's cool for the story, because I think from behind the scenes, especially, you can attract a different type of actor. You can attract an actor with limited availability, but they can still come in and do something super awesome.
And you can get A-listers.
That's right. So just like we have here with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. But in terms of the first episode, it did feel a bit procedural, which was surprising, especially for a show on HBO. At least it was surprising to me.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, first episodes, you always have to kind of lay the groundwork. You have to introduce the characters. And I felt like they planted a lot of seeds that are going to come back up throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, I actually watched the episode twice.
Okay.
I watched it once with you and then once right after, just to sort of see what I might be missing. If there was anything that, little, nuggets that we might have glossed over, because I was just absorbing it the first time. And they're definitely setting up a lot. Obviously, it's going to be way more complex than the first episode. But so far we're just kind of getting the character development. I think we're getting to know the flaws of each one of the main characters. Martin, got to check my crib notes.
Yeah,
Martin Hart. Here are my notes.
Holly made notes on a paperback.
Martin Hart and
Rust
Cole. I thought it was Rust too, but it's Rust.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I actually felt like I looked it up. I don't know. It does. Yes, you're right. I thought he said Rust, but then I read somewhere somebody said Russ, and I was confused.
Yeah.
But Rust.
It's Rust.
With a T.
Yeah.
Okay, so any general predictions for where you think everything's going to be going?
Well, let's see. Predictions. I think that we're going to find out, I think probably by the second episode. We already know that Martin is having an affair.
Yes, they do heavily imply that.
Yeah, they do. There was actually two moments that they obviously, he sees the
lady with
the
her
jugs,
with her goods.
Lady jugs. And then but also when he's in the prison talking to Dora Lang's husband, who doesn't know that she's dead yet. The prisoner says something about, when you want a wife, but you don't want her all the time.
50% of the time.
50% of the time,
like that.
And
I'm
of
grabbing
course,
my coffee now too.
And Martin, smirks like,
yes,
yeah,
he knows exactly. Yeah, I thought that. I think we're gonna find out a little bit more about that for sure. And I think I thought the time jump was really interesting too. The idea that we're seeing these characters 10, 15 years down the road, and yet the case is still relevant.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit about the case that is up for discussion here. So, we, Holly and I are both fans of the horror genre in general, and we're not afraid of graphic violence or anything like scary. What were your reactions?
We bathe in it.
We love it. Oh, all the time. So, what are some of your reactions to the first kill, the case that they are going to go down that road and investigate?
I gotta say, the first thing I thought was Hannibal, but not Hannibal enough.
Okay.
That was just my gut reaction from the visuals, from seeing the body and the antlers, and I've seen it done on Hannibal gorgeously, and this was kind of like, okay, there's a fancy dead body, but it didn't hook me.
And that's interesting considering Hannibal is on just basic television, NBC, and then we've got the show on HBO, which is being billed as this really gritty true crime drama. And I haven't seen Hannibal, but I think that's a great reaction, or an interesting reaction.
It was actually, so much less graphic than, but we're still at the first episode again. So, so yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I was disappointed, but it was definitely, oh, okay.
If this is the most tame that it gets throughout the whole season, then I think we're in for a gory, nasty treat.
Yes.
But if they don't really up the ante, that would be interesting too. I was reminded of Dexter. I think it was season 7, the Colin Hanks season, which I know you haven't seen yet. Yeah. And this is not a spoiler, but the killer uses a lot of religious imagery and things like that, and recreates these tableaus with his victims and things like that. So, that's what I was reminded of. But it's interesting. I mean, we'll see where it's all going. I really love that they have Matthew McConaughey playing the oddball and Woody Harrelson's kind of the straight man. Yeah. Not that I wouldn't, I'm a huge Matthew McConaughey fan, as you know, and some of our viewers may know. So it doesn't surprise me that he would be capable of doing something like this, but at the same time, with those two guys, I don't know, part of me would think that Woody Harrelson would be the oddball.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I would beg to differ because I've seen McConaughey do so many oddball characters. Oh, sure. Especially in the past year. You mentioned the McConaissance.
Mm-hmm, the McConaissance.
Yeah, so I wasn't surprised that he was the one who was kind of the weirder of the two. Mm-hmm. What I was really relieved to see was that there was humor.
It's really funny. Well, and they're funny guys.
They are, but you have to have humor if you're going to be covering this kind of, disturbing material. So I felt like you have to have some sort of levity in there, otherwise we're just like, yeah. So I was really glad that they did that, and Woody Harrelson has some great lines, very funny lines.
He's great.
And he's seriously irritated by Cole's character just in the first episode, and it's a joy to watch. But one of the other things I was going to mention was that some of the other characters, the character actors that are in this, I recognized from a lot of other things, and I was so happy to see them. Here are my notes again. For example, Michael Potts, who was in The Wire, and Clarke Peters, who was also in The Wire. Two really incredible actors that we don't really see much outside of HBO, frankly. Yeah. But great character actors. They have small parts in the first episode, but I'm looking forward to seeing more of them. And then another actor from Orange is the New Black, who we've only seen a glimpse of, and his name Michael Harvey or Harney. But he's really good, and
Who did he play?
He played the guy who Cole slaps
in
the office.
Yes, I knew I recognized him.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. And I'm a big fan of Michelle Monaghan. I think she's lovely.
She's great.
I'm a big fan of hers. I'd like to see more of her.
I'm already pissed that she's being cheated on because I like her so much.
That's smart. That's probably smart casting then. I hope that they let her get a little gritty. I hope she gets to play a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if she's kind of like the wife in the background, or if she. I'm gonna go ahead and make a prediction right now.
Yes. What?
I'm gonna predict that she and Matthew McConaughey have an affair.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't see that.
The reason I say that is from the dinner table conversation. Huh. I felt like she had some sympathetic eyes towards him.
She absolutely did. And I think that's very intuitive.
And I also feel like when she passes Woody Harrelson's character the coffee in the morning when he's slept out on the sofa, and he's like, "Hey, thanks, I gotta go." Right. She kind of stands there like she knows something's up with him.
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen you in 3 days. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're right.
Exactly. So that's my prediction. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
So any final thoughts?
I just can't wait for it to get darker and grittier, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. I think it's really well written. I think some of the dialogue is weird and creepy, and they're developing the characters so well. I just can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Me too, and I also love the idea that they know that this is a contained 7 or 8 episodes, and so I'm hoping that they just go for it.
Oh,
I'm hoping that they ramp up and go, and I think that they will. I wouldn't be, I'm not saying that I don't think that's going to happen, but that's what I hope happens. So looks like we're in for a big treat next week.
Can't wait.
Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. This is The Boys Club, the true detective perspective. I am Clarke Wolfe.
I'm Holly Payne.
And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Twitter. And all the information is in the video notes below. And come back next week because we will be back for episode 2. Have a good one.